All right, we are live here Monday morning, everybody. Welcome back to work, whatever you're doing here on a Monday. Hope it was a great weekend for everybody. Per normal, we're always going live everywhere. If you want to check us out anywhere during the day, we try to put this show on to make sure that you've got something great to be able to entertain you and something for you to watch, catch up on all the great news. Per always, if it's your first time joining us, Anthony is behind the camera.
How's it going, everyone? See,
There we go. That's better today. All right. If you don't know, Anthony usually just gives us like, all right, we'll see. So we like to see that right now from Anthony. But again, welcome back, everybody. We got the Patrick Carr Show here today, and we've got some great topics to be able to cover. It doesn't matter where you're coming to us from, Anthony. Today's topics are a lot of fun, and we hope you enjoy them because we have a lot of fun putting this together for you. The first thing I got to say is, Anthony, it's time to just bulldoze downtown, all right? I know you don't agree with me. But if you're just joining us, everybody, tonight, the City Council of Orlando is taking their final vote to go ahead and put a pause on all the preservation rules that have been governing downtown since the beginning of time. Basically, these preservation rules were put into place so that we couldn't bulldoze the historic district of downtown. Anthony over here wants to keep downtown and keep the historic stuff because he likes some of the places that he's gone. And I get it, okay? I get it. We're there. I mean, me and him, we disagree. I'm like, bulldoze this thing. Let's get rid of these rules and let's get like all together. Every part of downtown that's old, just go ahead and take a dumpster, or go ahead and bring the dumpsters down there, bring the crane and knock it all down, and let's build something that people will actually come to. And here's my theory about why, Anthony. Let's just go to what's happening right now. Currently, right now, there's a 37-story tower that has been approved across from Lake Eola, 6-1 by the city council, okay? It's right next to some 100-year-old church that's, I don't know, next to a condo building. People are all worried that this church is going to get damaged. Folks, I'm here to tell you this. Nobody jumps on an airplane from San Diego to come, or let's say no one jumps on an airplane to come from San Antonio to come to Orlando. And then when they arrive, they're like, can't wait to put our stuff down and get over to the historic district of Orlando. Said nobody ever. No one cares. It brings in no money, and nobody cares about preserving it. What we want to see is downtown become vibrant again. And anything that gets in the way of downtown becoming vibrant is a problem to me. And so when I hear about this preservation board, I know you're itching to get in on this. I know I can see it.
Yeah.
You're waiting to get on your mic over there. You hate this. And so this preservation board that's out there, that's sitting there, and they're like, we got to have this, up to this standard, blah, 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 whatever. Stop it. Let's just get rid of these buildings, build high-rise condos, and stick the multi-use shops right below it so that we can get a nice Starbucks or, I don't know, whatever coffee shop thrown in there. Maybe a nice, I don't know, Locos Tacos, whatever that place is down. What is it called? Gringos Tacos.
Oh, I love Gringos Tacos.
Man, what if they had another one? I'm telling you.
There's already one in downtown, man.
Can't have too many Gringos Tacos. For me, Anthony, I think about just the fact that over and over again, this board has gone to one vote. Now we're finally at a final vote to suspend the preservation board for 36 months. And in my opinion, it needs to happen. Give me the other side.
Okay. I think we can both agree. I think downtown Orlando needs to be more vibrant, needs to be more welcoming, more people need to go there more. However,
you should have gone with it. And
I think instead of having all these historic buildings that I've seen some of them, they have the furniture, they have the stuff, it's just abandoned. Put people in there, put new owners in there, make it vibrant, make it open. That's the thing. I like historic buildings, but I like it when it's open. Because that's the thing that's kind of annoys me is that I see these places that look so cool, but they're closed.
Yep.
They need to be open. That's the difference.
If I had confidence in our city council to make Church Street a vibrant street again, I might think otherwise. Okay. And this is my problem. I like Church Street is one with the train station, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I get Church and Wall sometimes, even living here for 20 years mixed up.
They're just like down.
Basically they're right there. Okay. But when I think about Church Street, right, I think about what's outside of 55 West, which was one of the major condominium, which turned into apartment buildings that has ever hit downtown Orlando. All right. And you walk outside of 55 West right there onto Church Street, and you get the train station that looks kind of old right there. And you kind of get these brick buildings. You get the brick street. And there was a time where there was some nightlife going on in this area. And then it just fell apart. And that whole strip right there is dead outside of that steakhouse that's there on that street. It's the only decent steak you can get downtown, period, in Orlando. And so when I look at that, I think, okay, could the city revive that street? I don't know. I don't think so. And I really believe that we've got to stop with this historic stuff down there and just start to get progress moving through the door. And that's going to be condominiums with multi-purpose use bottom floors, where you can get restaurants and bars. You see this a lot in Miami and West Palm, where you have the upper levels, of course, for condominiums. And then you've got the lower level where you've got a gym and you've got a coffee shop and you've got a bar and a restaurant. I think we need more of that downtown.
So I would say this. So do you think 55 West is that future of what downtown should be, in a sense that like that condominium, that giant one that's right there?
They've done a terrible job.
That's what I'm saying.
No, so I think that 55 was such a fair question. 55 West is the epitome of what not to do with a building. So a lot of people don't. 55 West was originally built as a condominium complex, and then it became apartments, and then they built on top of that to make more apartments. And somehow it's really kind of become this epicenter of problems, in my opinion. The parking garage there is a problem because that's one of the only big parking garages that there were downtown for a long time. Across the street, you can't build from 55 because you've got that useless parking lot next to a fire station, next to railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing is confusing. And on the other side, I guess what you would call the north side of 55, you've got I-4, which runs underneath. You run into the parking lot and the Kia Center. It's like this weird place that can't go anywhere. What they need to do, the only option they have is that where the train station is, west of 55 West, where the brick road is on Church Street, that whole thing right there, that's what needs to go. That's the part that needs to be fixed. And now people will tell me this. There's this big plan right now that I always see, like this drawing of 50, what it's going to look like out there, has some weird like canopy thing.
I've seen that for like 7 years. It's been so long.
Exactly. Like everyone, it's going to come. It's coming. No, it's not. I mean, it's just like one of the Buddy Dyer's, like, I don't know, park initiatives for $200 million we've talked about on the show that'll never come to fruition. And yet we're supposed to somehow believe that this thing is like, I don't know, right around the corner. You're going to get this great park. Like, we need that. What we need is businesses down there. I mean, I remember there's that kind of that bridgeway that goes over Church Street. Yeah. It's got such a great opportunity to be a great marketing place. Maybe it could be something that is historic. You could preserve that. It could be fun. It's a really unique arch that's right there above this historic street, but we don't do anything with it. At one time, I remember a couple of years back, it became a hookah lounge. And I was like, okay, now this place has gone too far, right? You used to have Chillers that was on that street many years ago.
Chillers is cool.
You had an arcade that kind of moved in there. You had a bunch of people like Oak Room who tried to do things on Church Street, but then it just failed. And so when I look at this, I think about, all right, we got the city council getting together again to vote on this progress or lack thereof. We need to get rid of these preservation rules. And the big pushback, Anthony, is an interesting one. So I was like, why aren't people doing this? Do people really care about downtown? But it's actually because the city council is worried about the grant money that they're going to not get anymore because of demolishing these rules, thus getting rid of these buildings. There's a lot of grant money that comes into downtown Orlando because we have an historic district. My argument against that would be that we need private industry more than we need more government help. What we really need downtown is a vibrant small business district more than we need grant money to keep a bunch of places deserted and open and crime to be happening. We need a better clientele downtown. And that comes when you build the high-rise condos and you charge $4,000 a month for a one bedroom. And if people don't think that you can do that in Orlando, you're crazy. Go down to Miami, where a one bedroom that's not that great is $4,000. if you want to live in Miami. All right. It's not unheard of. And Orlando can have that same clientele. We can bring industry here, but rules like this, where we're weighing between private industry and public grants, are what holds a city back. Yes, I understand that, you know what, grant money is great. A vibrant art district is awesome. A great history in a city is good to have. But you have to balance that with where we're currently at right now in the city of Orlando. And it ain't good. Every story that we do. So I know that me and you disagree on this one, Anthony, but we probably can find more common ground than what we think.
I think we do agree on, we both want downtown Orlando to exceed. I think we both have different ideas of where it could go, but
Yep.
I think we both have a better understanding of we want it to be better, but nothing's really going on that's making it. Because I have a list of places in Orlando that I want to check out, or like cool places and bars and restaurants. And I updated my list maybe a couple months ago, and every single spot in downtown that I wanted to check out, all gone.
Really?
Yeah. So I think there was like 4 or 5 places I wanted to check out in downtown. Gone. I had to put them in a different.
Gone as in they went out of business?
Yeah, went out of business.
Gosh. And that's the thing though, man. I mean, when you see that many small businesses that are leaving us right now, we got a problem, right? And so I think about if somebody supports this, or doesn't support getting rid of the, let's say, the historic district rules that have governed downtown for a long time. What I would say is, normally I would agree with you. I don't want to see it go away either, but we have to choose the lesser of two evils in a circumstance. And when you have some place that is struggling as deeply as Orlando and Orange County is, the lesser of those two evils is to get rid of the rules and invite private industry to come into the city. Mm-hmm. And by doing so, you're going to invite more people. That means more buildings. That means more taxable dollars that are coming in on those buildings. It means more industry down there that can be taxed. It means more income. And we see how this kind of starts to snowball right here. Right now, we seem to be stuck at a stalemate. And I think that the city council is realizing we got to do something. And even though this committee has been around for 18 years in Orlando, it's time to be done with them and say, hey, listen, we need to move forward.
I think that the reason why I don't want to see new buildings come in and new things, because I feel like we haven't fixed the problem, which is the policies. Because 10 years ago, everything was still the same building, same everything. But just a different policies, just different things that just make all these businesses move out. We need to see that get changed first before we start inviting new businesses to come in.
It's a fair point, per normal by Anthony. And I think that, I think that's actually a fair point, Anthony, because we do see that right now there are so many more problems that are downtown. It's kind of like now we're going to take on more problems. In other words, we're going to grow without solving the problems we currently have. Mm-hmm. I think that what the city might be banking on, and I'm not saying they're wrong here, is that we need to solve the money problem and we need to solve the people leaving downtown problem. Money problem is we don't have any progress going on. The buildings are not, they're not becoming, how would I put it, the taxable income they're receiving from these buildings is not what it should be, because the value of the buildings is not going up like it should. And I think that what downtown is banking on, or the city is banking on, is that if we move in more private industry, we're going to see that we get a more vibrant downtown, and the problems kind of solve themselves with a better crowd. More businesses come in. It's a risk, especially given the history of our city council here. I mean, I wouldn't say we have like titans of industry that are running the show. I mean, if there's a way to screw it up, they're going to find a way to do it. I mean, the fact that Orlando is not, maybe you could say the fact that Orlando is not like a top 5 downtown in the country is absurd. For people who just joined the show, I've said this before, so forgive me if you tune in regularly. Orlando sits between the largest university in the country in UCF and the #1 tourist destination in the world in Walt Disney World. I want people to think about that. Like, we have literally sandwiched in between them almost evenly is downtown Orlando, right in between. It's like almost a straight line. And downtown Orlando can't get its act together.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these industries, Lake Nona, which has all the medical that we have over there. And if you go to the other side, you've got some nice areas in Altamont, Lake Mary, all these beautiful places. And then Winter Park. You can't get downtown together. I mean, how do you screw it up is the question. And everybody, like we've had our videos that have gone out, which get millions of views about Orlando being the worst city. And people will argue it, oh man, it's Pittsburgh, it's this, whatever. It's like, no, you have to understand the potential. The loss of potential of Orlando is in the fact that it was sandwiched between these two entities right here, and it still can't get its act together. How do you screw it up so badly? I mean, it's hard to think about how you screw that up, but they found a way. I mean, great job, Orlando. And so when I see this, I'm happy that we're finally doing something I think that will bring progress. I know we disagree on what we could do and how we can make it happen, but you're right. We all have the same goal, which is a more vibrant downtown and places that people actually want to go, and we can have a city that we're very proud of. Right now, not happening. Hopefully city council gets their act together tonight, passes this thing again, and we get rid of these ridiculous laws that have been governing the 18 years of preservation, whatever it is. We got to move on, though, Anthony. We got to move on to story number 2. And I'm talking about Tracy McGrady, everybody. If you've lived in Orlando or Central Florida, heck, if you're a basketball fan, you remember Tracy McGrady, all right? I want to talk about this guy. First of all, Vince Carter's cousin, all right? He was a great addition to the Orlando Magic for a number of years. One hell of an athlete. The guy was just awesome. But I can't stop here. I got to give the man some credit. All right. If you haven't heard what Tracy McGrady is doing off the court now, let me just read you some of the things this man is doing. All right. Because he is just crushing it. First of all, he's a studio analyst with NBC. So he's crushing it right there. He's got a sick podcast with his cousin, Vince Carter. He is now part owner of the Buffalo Bills, everybody. He's reunited with Adidas for those sick McGradys that came out. All right. And so he's going to actually reignite the Adidas camp. If those of you are familiar with basketball, you know what I'm talking about. The Adidas camp is where big athletes like him or Admir Stoudemire used to be discovered. Huge. And here's the centerpiece, man. He has actually started the Ones Basketball League, which if you haven't heard of it, is extremely entertaining. It's one-on-one basketball between cities. So what happens is you get a team of 4 and then they rotate, okay? And you get one-on-one games, and it's called the Battle of the Cities. Now, it gets played out over a course of, I think it's 3 weekends is what happens. And we've got the championship coming up here in Orlando, July the 1st at Oak Ridge High School. I think tickets start around like $30-$35, somewhere around in there. But you get some real talent from in these cities to come and battle against each other with who's got the best one-on-one game. They got big names involved with it. Muggsy Bogues, if you remember back in the day, the first Space Jam, everybody. All right. Of course, Vince Carter's attached with it, all the way to Jadakiss. John Wall, some of these guys like this that are involved in this league. And he just got $7 million in funding for this league right now. So this guy is crushing it. And I got to give credit where it's due. I love the fact that this is a guy who saw something in the 3-on-3 basketball league that we got. He's turned it over into a one-on-one league. All right. And you know where he's doing it? Orlando. I love it. He's doing this old school, Oak Ridge High School, man. Go check out that place. It's a great gym for basketball. It's got that old school high school feel. Now we get some one-on-one talent from all of these cities that is coming in there. I love what this guy's doing. He's not just cashing checks and forgetting about Orlando. He knows a city that really put him on the map. And you know what? He's staying here. And I love that about him, man. I love what this guy is doing.
That guy's great. That's awesome. And just makes it so nice for the community just to go out there, play some basketball, just have some fun. That's amazing.
I got a feeling this ain't going to be fun, man. I got a feeling, man, this is going to be wild.
Oh.
July 1st at Oak Ridge, man. Like, this place is going to be going crazy. Crossovers, dunks. I mean, it's going to be great.
So is it like different cities? Say like Wood Park versus Orlando?
No. Battles like outside of Florida. Like, it's different cities that are coming in. And they're doing like a battle of the cities. They call it, I want to make sure I get it right here. They're calling this thing because it's like Battle for the Throne, or so For the Throne is like the title, here. They run $100,000. The team does. So you get a team of 4, you get $25K each. But you got guys that are coming in, man, who want to say, hey, listen, my city's got the best one-on-one game. And so you're rotating in. There's some strategy to that, of course, too. He wants to go and take it to two places. He wants to take it to China, number one, but he also wants to take it to women. So he wants to take a women's league now, as that's to be in the next step, is what he said. But I love the fact that this guy is crushing it. He's got the Ones Basketball League. He's got Adidas coming back with him. We got him on NBC podcast with his cousin Vince Carter. And then, of course, he's also, like I said, he's a part owner of the Bills. Tracy McGrady is doing it right now. He reminds me a lot of like a Shaquille O'Neal when Shaq was kind of just starting up all these businesses. Tracy McGrady gets it. And go watch his podcast with Vince Carter. Real good stuff, man.
I love this too because I feel like it's not a lot of people talk about it, but I feel like it's hard to be like a sports athlete because you get into your profession, you do all your stuff, you just focus on sports, but then you only play for maybe 5-10 years if you're lucky.
You're lucky.
And then once you're done with that, then that's it. You don't really have another form of income. So a lot of these athletes don't really kind of go bankrupt. It's kind of sad. So
they do. And I think it's also because there's an identity problem after you probably get done playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, like even if you're a bright, intelligent person, which I played with a lot of great players. I played with guys that are in the NBA, played with guys in the NFL. I mean, I played with some great players, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But when you attach your identity to the sport, it's very difficult to move on as an adult. I mean, if you think it, let's just take, I was a good basketball player, and I grew up every weekend playing AAU ball like these guys do. So if you're good, you'll play on even multiple travel teams. And so every weekend you leave school at 3:00 if you're like next pulled out early, and you play through Sunday night if you're good, because the final game is usually around 6 p.m. on Sunday for the weekend if you make it there, which you should if you're good. And so you're playing all weekend long, every weekend. It is your identity. Then you move into high school ball and you're just moving on from there. If you move into college and professionals, and then you're done. Your whole identity, your whole life has been that sport. People have looked at you for that. They've considered you to be a ball player. When they talk to you, it's all about that sport. And now you've got to go, what next?
Yep.
Like, you don't know anything or haven't built relationships outside of basketball. And so a lot of these guys become coaches, or they become trainers, or they try to continue to make it in the game in some other way. Maybe they become an agent, or a lot of them unfortunately attach themselves to family and try to, maybe just hang on to their coattails of somebody else who's trying to make it. But you're right. It is very difficult to do what McGrady is doing, which is to flip that coin and go, okay, I'm not just a basketball player. I'm going to be more than that. And people are going to look at me as more than that. And big shout out to him. And I love the fact that he's keeping it in Orlando. He was a Florida boy, I believe. I want to hold myself to that. I know that Vince Carter was a Daytona guy, but they were cousins. So was he a Florida guy? Tracy McGrady High School, if we put that in there, I really want to say him and Vince Carter were both here from Florida.
Let me check.
Man, you want to talk about McGrady in high school? Where are they from?
Well, he was born in Florida, so
yeah, born in Florida.
Yeah,
Daytona area.
Bartow. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so a little bit of ways away. So he's born in Bartow. So I just, for me, I like where this is at right now. Big shout out to Tracy McGrady, who is doing great things. One's Basketball League, all the best, $7 million in funding. Go crush it, bro. I have a feeling that he's going to. Next story. This is an interesting one, man. When I saw the numbers, I had to go ahead and pull it. It's been 10 years, everybody, since a young man tragically lost his life at Walt Disney World back in 2016. The young boy was snatched up by an alligator in one of the ponds at Disney World. Before that time, 23 gators had been removed from the Disney property. Since that time, 414 alligators have been removed from Disney's property. The latest numbers show that 27 were actually taken out recently. It is a huge number, and one that everybody should be aware of. Although Disney is a park that has taken precautions to keep people safe, never forget there are 1.3 million gators in the state of Florida. And if you are going to be visiting one of our parks or swimming in one of the lakes in Florida, keep it in mind, everyone. The gators are around. The numbers are shocking. 100% of lakes in Florida have an alligator in them. 100%, everybody. It's not like you have a chance that they may be there. They are. And even if you're just a foot in, you are in a danger zone for alligators. And so when I saw this story, it is a reminder, everyone, of the dangers that happen when you enter lakes in Florida. And Disney has caught on. Disney, in fact, has put a lot of gates and they put fences around these lakes that otherwise would not have had them. But in a lot of places around Florida, you don't see that. And be careful. They are there. Now, will they bother you most of the time? No, they're not. You don't hear about it very often. That's not what they're there to do. They're not in the business of doing that. But I will say that it is something that to be cautious of. And when I read this story, it had been 10 years since that time. I remember when it happened, Anthony. And it was such a tragic story of a young boy because you imagine you're there on vacation. And as a family, I can't imagine like your young boy is there in a lake and you're thinking it's Disney. They take precautions against this stuff. And he's snatched up by a gator. And one of the things that struck out to me is that, they never sued Disney, that family.
Really?
They actually made a nonprofit out of it. They took what was a terrible day in their life. And instead of doing what I think most people would do, they actually started a nonprofit, which I was surprised about. And it's for kids who need organ transplants.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And so I would say this is that while Disney has taken a lot of alligators off their property, and it's something that we should definitely be made aware of, it's very interesting to see what these individuals did. So anyways, I'll say this, that 414 gators is nothing to shake a stick at. So if you're going to Walt Disney World, there might be a fence, but I would stand a few feet back from it, everyone, because that is not something that I want to mess with right there.
And I bet you 400, that's probably nothing compared to like how many gators there really are here.
And yeah, think about how many that there are left in those lakes. Now that might be something to think about. But just everybody keep it in mind, be safe out there, even if you're visiting Orlando or anywhere in Florida. If there's a lake, there's a gator in it, so be aware. All right. This is just another example of that. That takes us to story number 4, everybody. And if you haven't heard, there was a record number of tourism. Oh, gosh, Anthony, I've got to say it, in Orlando. Now, before everybody gets excited and says, see, Patrick, I told you Orlando is fine. It's thriving. Folks, this is, I hate it when we come out with these statistics because this is another example of how Orlando hides all its deficiencies. Yes, last year, 76.7 million visitors, which was a record to Central Florida, everyone. But I want everyone to understand what's happening because it's extremely important when you look around here. First of all, international tourism down 8%. Our biggest import, Canada, down 13% from tourism. Disney down 1% last year in attendance. So what carried us to this? It's Epic Universe, all right? Epic Universe brought in 10 million people and therefore pushed everybody over the edge. Meanwhile, other parks in other parts of Florida or other parts of Central Florida continue to suffer. And so what's happened is that our city councils, our local governments, people like in the parks, everyone thinks, oh, you know what? The numbers look great. No, they don't. They look great for one park, which is Epic Universe. Everywhere else is failing, which is holding up this sandcastle. All right. It's just holding it up. And we're just ready for the wave to come in 2026, this year. And it's just going to wash it all away as the facade that it is. I'm preaching this every day, Anthony, almost because it's true. How do people not see the numbers that are happening right in front of them? It's a record number for Orlando. No, it's not Orlando. It's the parks, and it's one park that is holding everything together. If it wasn't for Epic Universe, it would be one of the worst years, if not the worst year ever for tourism to Central Florida. And next year, it's going to dive because it's being held up by who? 81% from domestic leisure travelers. In other words, people said, hey, kids, you want to go take a drive from Tampa over to Orlando and check out Epic Universe? Sure. They aren't coming back next year. It's just your leisure traveler who said, I'm going to go check it out because it's new. Now that person's not coming back for 3 to 5 years, and everybody has fallen into that. So we're going to see in late 2026 and into 2027, the numbers for the area continue to go down, and everyone's going to go, whoa, why this is happening? I never saw this coming. And we're going to run clips over and over again about why it is happening and why we were out in front of it. Do not fall into this trap of thinking Orlando is doing great. No, there's a park outside of Orlando in Central Florida that is doing great. That's where the success is happening.
Yep. Epic Universe is pretty cool, though.
Damn right it's cool.
Yeah.
Epic Universe is sick.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who are not aware as well, they have just, let's see here, Epic Universe has filed permits to expand. All right. It's barely a year end, and they're like, hey, listen, let's add to it. It's going to be part of the monster-themed dark universe land. They've big permit for a building there. So Epic Universe is already like, hey, listen, we're crushing everybody in this area. We're just going to put our foot to the gas and keep it going right now. Yeah, I mean, their revenue, the Comcast, who owns the theme park, the whole Universal theme park thing, how much their revenue jumped 24% this year. They're crushing everybody. Disney doesn't even know what to do right now. They have that new CEO of the parks, or whatever. He needs to get it together, figure something out. In fact, I'm really surprised. I mean, he was named a couple of months ago. We ran that story. Haven't heard anything about Disney changing.
No.
Prices are going up. People are still complaining about it. Attendance is still down. All those people out there that defend Disney, listen, folks, you can love it. You can be part of the cult. You can drink the Kool-Aid all you want, but the numbers speak, all right? And the numbers are showing that right now, people are going to Epic Universe and Universal over Disney.
I definitely want to see if Disney's probably going to open up another park or something, because I feel like they're going to have to start competing, because Universal's just grabbed up. Well, they had Volcano Bay 10 years ago. Then they just opened up Epic Universe a year ago. So.
Yeah. And now they're going to add to Epic Universe with the monster-themed Dark Universe Land is what it's called. So I say this story for two reasons: that we want to be in front of what is really happening. Then when you read the headlines in like the Orlando Business Journal and you see, oh, it's record tourism in Orlando, everything must be going great. No, it's not. And what is going to happen is that a year from now, people, how did it come to this? Why is everything tanking around here? Well, because you didn't look at what was really going on. You didn't dive into the numbers a little bit deeper to see that attendance is down across the board, except for one place. And when you don't have people coming from Canada and overseas to spend big money at Disney, we're going to lose. And that's when things start to unravel and fall apart. We already saw, in fact, I covered it on Friday, the tax problem that we have in Orange County with these Disney properties. And tell you, not looking good, everybody. And so be careful. Great that you get record numbers. We should be praying to the theme park lords and gods that, hey, that Epic Universe was built. Because if not, we'd be singing a much different story now. I'm just very concerned we'll be singing that story in about 6 months to a year.
I'm at previous job. We did the grand opening for Epic Universe. We did all the live stream stuff. So it was pretty cool because we were there for like a week before the park opened up. And I got to literally go on every single ride before anyone could.
It's a great park.
It was cool because it was like 5 minutes for every ride. I was just walking in.
Love it.
It was cool.
Great park. They did a really awesome job. You got to give credit where it's due. And I just hope that the rest of the parks get their act together, because it's holding it together, right? It's what's holding tourism up. And you have to understand that if somebody comes to Epic Universe, they're probably going to go in and do a one day over at Disney, right? They all work together. And so you can't just think that, oh, it's just somebody goes and stays at the Portofino over there at Universal, and they're never going to leave that place. No, they'll be like, hey, you want to go to one day at Disney? Okay, they go over there. And so that's holding up tourism in that area. If that starts to fall out and those leisure travelers go from 81% down to 61%, this ain't good.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody else to fill that gap right now. Disney is the international draw, and Disney is not happening. We can't hold up the Central Florida area with only leisure travelers from the state and Georgia and South Carolina, that whole area, for any more than just maybe a year and a half to 2 years. We're pushing the year mark right now. We've got another 6 months left to ride this wave, and that's when the bottom falls out.
Yep, 100%.
What's going to happen, folks? I don't like it any more than you do. We can still change it, but we have to take action. We have to understand what's really happening in the area. All right, I want to get to our 5th story of the day. We got 6 stories for you. If you hadn't heard, last week, the governor signed the Jason Raynor Act here in Florida. Now, for me, I have praised this act for the most part, and I want to talk about it. And I think that most people who have common sense have praised what happened here. Let's rewind. In 2021, a Daytona Beach officer, Jason Raynor, walked up to a man in a car that looked like it was stolen. The man, Othel Wallace, shot him and killed Raynor. He was the 26-year-old man. He was charged with manslaughter and not murder. And what happened is that he got 30 years, and he does get an opportunity to get probation. This week, DeSantis signs in the Jason Raynor Act that says that now, if killing a protected officer is life without parole, no questions asked, and it includes officers that are correctional and probation officers, and it raises the penalty for assault and battery on police. Here's what nobody is talking about with the Jason Raynor Act. It's something called the, quote, good faith rule, and I want to explore that with you right now, Anthony, for our audience. Now, as I said, this law raises penalties for assault and battery on police by introducing this good faith act. The old law says you could not resist an officer in the lawful execution of his duty, lawful being the key word. That was sort of a loophole because what defense lawyers would argue is that the arrest was illegal. So if there was some kind of resisting to it, that was pretty much fair game. That was what the loophole was. So the new law swaps lawful for the words good faith standard. What this means, if an officer is sincerely and reasonably trying to follow the law, you cannot fight the arrest. Even if the judge later says even if the judge later rules that the arrest was wrong, you have to comply now and you can argue your case in court later. So I want to be clear about this. This isn't about, in my opinion, the major thing this isn't about the over-encompassing Jason Raynor Act, which is that if you kill a police officer, you need to go to prison for life. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Cool. What this is about is the second part of good faith. And I want everyone to walk through this with me because I was reading it there, but I want to just talk about it. If we're relying on the police to act in good faith, to me, that leaves too much area for interpretation. If a police officer comes into my home and believes he's acting in good faith, but is acting illegally, I don't care about good faith. I care about that you're illegally trying to do something to me. Law is the standard, not good faith. And when we start doing that, it becomes a gray area that only is a gray area for citizens and not officers. Everyone should be held to the same standard, which is the law. And so I look at this and I think this is, while I understand the thought behind it, they're saying, hey, listen, we don't want this defense anymore that the arrest was unlawful, but then he beats the crap out of an officer and therefore he gets off of that because the arrest was unlawful. I understand the point of it. But at the same time, you can also disagree with the fact that it opens up a lot more interpretation for what officers can get away with. And then it forces somebody to comply who, if you've ever been in the heat of a moment of an arrest, I have, and I'll say that openly, it's a very tense moment. And if you feel like you're wrongfully being arrested or you are wrongfully being arrested by the law, you're asking someone to do a lot right there. And I believe that you're absolving the officer from the law because you're saying if he acted in good faith. How can I know if he acted in good faith? I have to take his word for it. I have to look at the facts of the case. And this to me is where I think you're muddying the waters here on a law that should have been just simply black and white and a very good thing, right? If we would have stopped at life without parole for anybody that takes the life of an officer, you've got my support 1,000%. I'm 100% on board. When you add in this good faith thing, it bothers me, Anthony, because it feels to me like one of those laws, Like they always do. It's kind of like, oh, let's just put a headline right here.
Mhm.
Then let's push some stuff underneath it that nobody will read. But that's the really important stuff right there, because nobody will disagree with this part. So if you disagree with the act, the law itself, you're the problem. How could you not disagree? But then you look underneath it and you go, well, just remove that part.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we don't want to do that. So, oh, okay, well, I disagree with that part. Does that mean you disagree with all of it? And you can see how somebody could be framed as being somebody that is not for the police because they don't support this law, when in reality, the stuff underneath it is going to come into play far more often than the actual headline of the law itself.
It's definitely interesting too, because it could be like you could agree with that 99.9%, but that 1% changes the whole thing, and it's like you can't fully agree with it. And then if you're not fully agreeing with it, you're on the opposite side. It's like, no, we want it, just don't want this thing that could definitely be a gray area and be used against anyone too. And
Yes. We have to okay, so let's just look at this in the day-to-day, okay? Do we believe there's going to be more day-to-day instances where somebody is resisting arrest in a questionable case, or are there going to be more day-to-day instances where an officer loses their life? There's going to be obviously more where there's going to be a resisting arrest in a questionable case. That's obvious. Now, are those as serious as an officer losing their life? No, I'm not trying to compare the two, but it is fair to say that you will deal with one more than you're going to deal with the other. And the good faith standard that's been set in this law is going to come up in court systems far more often than the Jason Raynor Act, the title of it. I guess you say the title part of the law, where, the life in prison type of thing. And so I would say that I don't like this. Not the law, not the headline law, which is life without parole. I love that.
Yeah.
But we have to look at the details of it. You can support that part of the law and also say, I don't support the other part of it. And that's where I think people lose, is that Democrats probably looked at this and said, I don't know the answer, but I'm assuming there were probably liberals in the left and the Democrats who looked at this, ACLU, and said, we don't like this. And then probably the people on the right framed them and said, well, you don't support police officers. And they go, no, it's not that. It's, we support the very top line headline law. We get that. But it's the stuff that you crunched underneath it that we don't appreciate, because it's left ambiguous in a gray area that is more going to hurt citizens than it's going to hurt police officers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's wrong to say, Anthony.
No, I agree. And it's definitely like the chances of it actually being probably used is like very, very, very slim. But that one person that did happen to do that, and then they were doing it unlawfully, but have a good faith, that one person is going to affect their whole life with this outcome.
Well, it made stiffer penalties for that person. I guess the best way I know how to put it is, if the most common thing that people see is traffic citations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's something that happens on the side of a road, or something that happens in maybe a domestic violence, I don't know. But there are a lot of cases where the officer could use his discretion in good faith, but the arrest may be unlawful. I mean, I understand the thought is, we're going to go ahead and we are going to try this in court, not there with the officer, right? That is how it should be. You're right. The person should sit there, put their hands behind their back and go, great, arrest me, even though I know it's unlawful. I don't know if that's reality though, right? And when I see this, I go, okay, whoa. Are we going to take into consideration the fact that it was an unlawful arrest in the end? Or are we just simply going to say, no, we're not, because now we have a good faith standard that should be considered? I believe that both can be considered if you want to look at the penalties for somebody. And I hope that the court system does exactly that. But this right here is a great example, everybody, of how you can see a headline and see how a politician can be framed in a certain way. But then you can read what happens underneath and you can go, hold on, I can agree with one part and I can disagree with the other and have questions, and it doesn't make me a bad person.
Yeah, 100%.
There we go. Our last story of the day is a weird one, Anthony. Have you found any information on this one? Any pictures?
Yeah, well, just the picture that he posted, yeah.
It's weird, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, folks. So I don't know how to say this. Donald Trump posted a photo of a woman and I guess called her his great daughter. And basically nobody knows what's going on. Let me tell you the story. Saturday night, it's the eve of Father's Day. Trump put up an old photo on Truth Social. Looked like it was from the 90s. A blonde woman on a red sofa taking like an old corded phone out, basically. And the caption read, quote, "Great daughter, my honor," end quote. The issue is it ain't Ivanka, it's not Tiffany, and nobody knows who the heck this person was. People believe it's like the daughter of some billionaire that had donated to his campaign. It's some girl named Andrea who runs the Manhattan Republican Party, a big Trump supporter, but nobody knows who this woman is, and it's weird. If you read it simply, it would be that he grabbed an old photo, made a caption on it on Truth Social, and just picked the wrong photo out of an album type of deal, maybe off of his phone. If you want to read this simply, that would be the harmless thing. Older guy who just turned 80, took the wrong photo. Okay. I guess that's the way people put it. I got to admit, Anthony, I'm looking at this a different way. As much as I like Trump, I consider myself a middle of the road Republican, middle right. Mm-hmm. This guy has, I want to read this to everybody. Donald Trump last month, I want to read the right number here. Yeah, here it is. 861. Was that what it was? Yeah. He made 861 posts last month. 27 times a day. This guy is basically posting right now. And now he's posting some picture of somebody who's not even his daughter. I have no problem with the president having a voice on things, but I'm telling you what, we post quite a bit on this channel, right? And we post shorts and everything. 27 times a day? I mean, what are you're posting more than a couple of times an hour. You're sitting there on your phone is what you're doing.
I was saying we have a marketing company. I don't know if we post that much a day with all of our companies.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to me, to tell you the truth. And so when I look at this, it's becoming a little bit questionable to me, Anthony. A guy who's 80 years old posting 861 times last month, 27 times or so a day. Now he's posting this weird picture of somebody who's not even his daughter before Father's Day, saying his great daughter. Doesn't make sense to me. And I want to challenge my Republican friends out there for a minute. If I gave you these statistics and I said, this is Joe Biden, how many of you would go, get that guy out of there, mental acuity, this guy is terrible, he has no idea what's going on, but because it's Donald Trump, he's got a support and a base that will not question if the guy is mentally sharp? We will. I have no problem saying I support the guy's policy, but you have to admit what is going on right now is weird. I mean, you look at, we just got off this UFC fight celebrating 250 years plus his 80th birthday. Now we've got these weird photos. We got him texting or not texting, but you got him on Truth Social all the time, posting weird things, late hours of the morning or late hours of the evening, early morning hours. This whole thing doesn't add up to me right now. And whether we like Donald Trump or we don't, you do have to question what exactly is going on with the governance of this country. And are we looking at somebody who is on the edge of a mental decline right now and is trying to hide that? And because he has made so much fun of Joe Biden and his mental acuity, I wonder if he feels trapped in some way by how much he's made fun of him, that he may not be the same person he was 8 years ago. And that's not to say that's a problem or wrong. He's getting up there in age, but I don't think he's doing himself any favors by posting 861 times on Truth Social and posting old pictures of women that are not even his daughter. That doesn't look good.
Yeah, no. It's definitely an interesting point too. If this was Biden a couple years ago, people would be up in arms about it, and then
people would be livid. Imagine if Joe Biden posted an old picture of the 90s of a woman that wasn't a girl who wasn't his daughter, and he said, "My great daughter."
Yeah,
people would go, "This guy's lost his mind." That's what people would say, and they'd have a right to, and I'd be the one saying it too.
Yeah.
But when you have it happen on the other side, nobody wants to say that. because everyone go, oh no, Trump. Maybe he's on the decline too. The guy's 80 years old. Not to say that he's not fit to run the country. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to be fair in how you judge people. We say it all the time. Just because I like something right now, I have to look at how it's going to be applied later. And so if you're going to be that person who, if I told you this is Joe Biden and you would have jumped down his throat and you, oh man, he's lost it, I told you guys, then you also have to be the person right now that holds Donald Trump to be accountable as well. It has to, what is it? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't know what that saying is, but you have to hold everybody to the same standard. That is how we have a political system that is vibrant and good for the public, not one that is built around people that are just fanboys of a certain person. And so for me, this is one of those things that should be watched much closer than what it is right now. Go ahead.
I was just looking it up. I was like, man, if he's posting 27 times a day, what is like the average? That's almost like less than an hour a post. He's just posting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if the guy's up for 16 hours a day, you're looking at about what? I mean, a post every 45 minutes or somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
Every 30 to 45 minutes. Okay. I mean, like, that's a lot of posting to be doing to True Social. Why? So that would be my question is why? Well, because he's going to do it. He's the president of the United States, do what he wants to do. But it screams to me somebody that is, are you focused on the country or are you focused on the public perception of how you're running the country? And 861 posts when things are going well, I'm good with. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you when things are not going well, nah, not exactly a fan of that at all. And so this is a weird story, weird picture. Don't understand it. Nobody does. And good luck explaining that away if you're the White House. Seems to me like a guy that was just maybe too tired. Maybe he was a little bit off. Maybe he thought this was his daughter from an old picture that was taken, and he went ahead and posted it up there thinking it was either Ivanka or Tiffany or someone like that, and he didn't take a close look at it. Listen, we all make mistakes. I get it. I mean, if you're going through your camera roll and you got thousands of photos, maybe you grab one thing and that's who it is. You post it out there before you go to bed at night thinking, all right, this is my little thing for Father's Day right here, and I put it away. But just something's off about this one. The fact that we're taking some old photo like that, you could have taken any photos of your daughter or you as a father, and you take some 1990s weird photo with some corded phone. I don't know.
Yeah,
something's off here. And like I said, if we put this to Joe Biden and we hold the same standard, all the Republicans would be losing their head right now. So hold everybody to that same standard.
And even if he didn't mean to post it, this is a creepy thing. Great daughter, my honor. Why?
Yeah, it's just a weird thing to say. Great daughter, my honor. And okay. Even if that was your daughter, it'd be a weird thing to post. All right. I mean, so I don't know that. So anyways, everybody, that's our show for the day. We appreciate everybody joining us. It's been a great one here. We got a lot of fun topics in today. Hopefully it gave you some stuff while you're in the car to be thinking about, some awesome stuff that's going around Orlando and around the country. We always will be back tomorrow on a live show when Anthony and I decide we're going to do it. I don't know. We'll see you tomorrow morning, early afternoon. We get to it. I promise you. And be sure to check us out over on YouTube. And if you're watching us there, make sure that you subscribe, folks. I mean, we love it. Subscribe. Why would you not? You get our stories every single day. You'll be the smartest person in the office, or at least the smartest person in your friend group. Or, I don't know, you'll be ill-informed because you listen to us. One of the two. Either way, have a great rest of your Monday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday here on the Patrick Carr Show. All right, bye.